What's up, motherfuckers? Why am I censored? I literally edit my own videos. What's going on, everybody? This Saturday, we got UFC 253. We got Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa, and we got Jan Blachowicz versus Dominick Reyes. I'm going to be breaking down just those two fights. I know there's another, obviously 3 fights on that card, but it's a pretty top-heavy card in my opinion. I think there's not to say that those other fights aren't going to be super entertaining. It's just that the fights that are important in terms of rankings are at the very top, and it's those 2 title fights. So I'm going to get into breaking all of those and giving you my predictions on the fight. Let's get right into this video. Let's just go ahead and start with the main event. We got Izzy versus Paulo. I think this is going to be a really, really good stylistic matchup. It's going to make for a really, really fun fight. Of course, I thought that with Yoel Romero versus Izzy, and we all know how that one turned out.
It's like, what's he doing?
The women had thrown 100 strikes by this point in the fight.
Yes, they're big.
Gotta give the judges something to score. If you're getting paid for a championship fight, let's see what you do.
But I really don't see this fight going that way. I think Paulo Costa is the guy who just goes forward and tries to knock people's head off, and Izzy's just a counter striker, so they're kind of made for each other. It makes for a really, really fun fight. Now, how do I see this one going? I see it going very similar to Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya. And I'm not giving you my pick right now. I'm not saying Izzy's going to win because Izzy beat Rob. But I just see it where Rob was very that going forward. He was putting on the pressure to Izzy, and it was working for most of the fight, except at the end of the first round where he got caught, and then when he got finished in the second round. I see that being the same scenario. The only difference is Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker are 2 different fighters. I think Paulo is more punch-oriented. Rob mixes it up probably better. But then you look at the physique of the 2 guys, and it's night and day. I mean, Robert Whittaker's an athlete. He's in really, really good shape. He's an impressive specimen. But when you look at Paulo Costa and you look at that physique and you look at the power that he has, I mean, the dude's undefeated for a reason. But Paulo Costa is just a different beast. I think he's going to come forward. I think he's going to hit Izzy with heavy shots. And in order for Israel to win this fight, he's going to have to last 2 or 3 rounds. He's going to have to take some heavy shots, and he's going to have to give it back and do some good countering. I think he can. I think the striking between the 2, I think Israel Adesanya has the advantage. I think he is the better kickboxer. But the power advantage obviously really goes to Paulo Costa. And the wrestling goes to Paulo Costa, but I don't see him using the wrestling. I think that's going to be something that's going to be to his downfall. If he doesn't, who knows? Maybe he'll come in there and just try to take Izzy down. But, I mean, again, Israel Adesanya has shown that he has really, really good takedown defense. So I think this is going to be a kickboxing match when you really get down to it. And so who do I think is going to win this? I think Adesanya is going to take it. I don't sleep on Costa. I think a lot of people are. I think Izzy's the better fighter. I can see Costa potentially catching him and knocking him out. But you have to understand, let's look how the Rob versus Izzy fight went down. Rob kept coming in. Izzy kept catching him. I think Izzy has an 8-inch reach advantage against Paulo Costa. And he has a 2-inch height advantage. So Paulo's going to get caught with some shots coming in. And everyone knows that when you're going into a shot, it's going to hurt more than whether or not you're backing up or rolling with it. So I think Izzy can catch him. I think he can hurt him. And if Izzy doesn't finish him in the first 2 rounds, or if Izzy doesn't get finished in the first 2 rounds, I think Izzy has a really good advantage when it comes to the later rounds of the fight. He has experience in 5-round fights. He's shown that he can, fight like a dog like he did against Kelvin Gastelum, and he has good cardio. We've seen Paulo Costa kind of gas in the past, but when it comes to round 4 and 5, I think that Izzy has a clear advantage. I think he's been there, and I think that Paulo Costa's power is going to go away, so I think Izzy's winning that one, but I can see it going either way. Now, for the light heavyweight strap, we got a fight between Jan Blachowicz versus Dominick Reyes. This one is hard for me to pick. I don't have extensive knowledge on either fighter. I haven't watched their older fights. I've only watched their more recent ones. I mean, they kind of have a similar, career almost. I mean, I guess that's just because they fought a middleweight who wanted to be a light heavyweight and knocked the dude out. Looking at Jan, he has more knockout power as of recently. He knocked out Luke Rockhold, which is, I think, impressive, but, people aren't going to give him that credit because Luke Rockhold has shown that his chin isn't all there anymore. But he was able to, stop the takedowns for the most part and then just catch him on the chin in that first round. Was it the second round? I forget. But he does seem to have more knockout power. And then obviously his first round knockout over Corey Anderson, who was looking really, really good. It looked like Corey Anderson was going to challenge Jon Jones and maybe be an issue for him. But now we look at Dominick Reyes, I almost said Dominick Cruz, who is the better athlete, and he will tell you that over and over and over again.
I'm actually more athletic than pretty much all these guys. Even I was watching Jon, I was like, yeah, he's a great athlete, but he's not a true athlete.
Yeah, he's the better athlete, and I think he has a weird way of getting angles on people. Like his knockout of Chris Weidman was actually really nice. Like it almost looked like he couldn't hit him from that range, and he just caught him with a left, slept him right away. And that one caught Chris by surprise. I mean, obviously he got knocked out. It's not like he saw the punch coming, but he has a good way of being able to back up and still fire. And it seems like he's a fighter who, even against the cage, with his back against the cage, he's still dangerous. And obviously the performance he had against Jon Jones was really, really good. I'm one of the few that did score it for Jones, but I completely understand why people had Reyes winning 3 of the 5 rounds. But yeah. So for this fight, I really don't know. It's tough for me to make like a clear-cut pick, but I'm going to go ahead and choose. I'm going to use some psychology here. I'm going to choose Dominick Reyes because I recently did a video on my favorite fighters in each division, and right now my favorite fighter in the light heavyweight division is Jan Blachowicz. And my guess is if I choose him, he'll lose. So I'm going to choose Dominick Reyes, and that way Jan will win. That's my thought process. Honestly, I don't know who wins this. It's a toss-up. I see the light heavyweight strap going to a bunch of different people over the years. You have so many contenders and so many just knockout artists in that division, like Jiří Procházka, who recently got a win over Volkan Ozdemir he was like a Ryzen fighter. Then you have Alexander Rakic, who just beat Anthony Smith. You got Glover Teixeira. You got Thiago Santos, who fought really, really good against Jon Jones, and he basically had a leg. He basically had no legs, because then I know he had like a crazy injury, like ACL, MCL, meniscus, a bunch of other scientific medical terms that I don't know. He had a bad injury during that fight, and he still did really good. And he also knocked out Jan Blachowicz, who's fighting for the title. So there's so many dudes in that division I see just beating each other over and over and over, and then this just being a revolving door of just contenders and winners. But I'm rambling like crazy. I'm going to go Dom Reyes winning, and I'm going to go Izzy winning the main event. So who do you guys have winning these fights? Let me know. I'm crinkling my water bottle. I'm not sure why. Check out my breakdowns. You guys really seem to like them. I'm going to put a little snippet of one right here because he's just a weird guy like that. He's funny. Look at that. Beautiful picture. You frame that. You put that somewhere in your home, and you just cherish it for your entire life. Yeah, check them out. I try to be funny in them. You might find that I'm not funny, and that's okay, but check them out. You guys seem to like them. A lot of likes. Good stuff, and thank you so much for the support. I'm already at like 75 subscribers, which I started posting like regularly like a month ago or something. So pretty cool. Digging the support. Peace.